drive-by king. Wheels through the lane, now spins back. Ja hangs, puts it in! Oh, what a shot by Morant in the clutch. So hot. Oh, Jerry said no! Because he doesn't put on the play, comes up with a monster block.
Our fans have a huge impact on our ability to play to the level that we're striving for.
Drop off, Morant. Oh! Well, you wanted home crowd involvement.
I love those moments where you see our guys engaging in the fans and the fans just get pumped up.
They are standing in FedEx Forum.
I would hate to be on the other side with the opposition when FedEx Forum's rolling. That's such an unbelievable relationship that our group has with our fans.
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans, one exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals texted straight to you during the Grizzlies 2024-2025 season. Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
Bain drives.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Close. He hits and the Grizzlies have the lead.
Yeah!
Jarrett with a knock-away.
Good defense.
Morant attacking, spinning, hanging, and hitting.
Let's go! Let's go!
Live from the Built Ford Tough studio at FedEx Forum, it's the Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South, on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app. Now, here's your host, Gary Parrish.
All right. I'm here. My name is Gary Parrish. I'm speaking to you from Midtown Manhattan, New York City. Bennett Doyle back in Memphis producing the program. Glad he's with me. Glad you're with me. Hope you get through the day best you can. And I sure hope you're not an owl lover like Bennett, because if you are, it was a rough night for you last night inside FedEx Forum. Tigers over Owls, like the good Lord intended. We'll talk about it momentarily. First, though, quickly, let me set today's schedule for you. The next segment, about 20 minutes, Mike Wallace is going to join me. He, of course, senior editor, Grind City Media. We'll catch up with him about all things Grizzlies, talk all things NBA. Mike Wallace going to be here in about 20 minutes. Finish talking to Mike, take a break, come back. Do 5 more things you need to know. Which one we're going to discuss 5 previously undiscussed stories. Among them, Auburn played an Ole Miss team last night that's been ranked in the AP Top 25 poll for much of the season and beat them by 30 like they were a JV team. My God, Bruce Pearl's team is ridiculous. I'll give you some numbers to support that claim. We'll do it in about 40 minutes. The shot of the night in college basketball, that came from Trey Holloman. Michigan State's 58-55 win at Maryland. A half-court heave at the buzzer. We'll show it to you. We'll do that in just a bit. We had a confrontation between media members at the NFL Combine in Indianapolis yesterday. Intense situation at a local Starbucks. NFL security had to be called. I'll tell you what we know. We'll do that. We'll do it in just a bit. The NFLPA's annual team report cards have been released, and it's bad news for Jets owner Woody Johnson. He's not popular with his own players. I'll tell you why in the second hour. And rest in peace, Gene Hackman, iconic actor, dead at the age of 95, along with his wife and his dog. Sad stuff. We'll mourn the passing of a film legend. We'll do it during a segment we call 5 More Things You Need to Know. Then we'll eventually do GP's Carry Out, and we'll call it a day. So that's the rundown. We got a lot to get to. But I did want to start with Penny Hardaway's Tigers, because the University of Memphis, they played its 28th game of the season last night and secured its 23rd victory. It wasn't the prettiest game, especially from three-point range, but an ugly quad 4 win is preferable to a pretty quad 4 loss. I think we can all agree on that. So we'll take it.
Yep.
Final score, Memphis 84, Rice 72 inside FedEx Forum. That's Tigers over Owls, which is the way it should always be, both in the wild and on the basketball court. If you're keeping track, because this was a big thing last season, after going 2-2 against Owls last season, the Tigers are now 5-1 against Owls this season. Let me run you through it. 1-1 against the Temple Owls. That's disappointing, but whatever. 2-0 against the Florida Atlantic Owls, and now also 2-0 against the Rice Owls. Big Bet Bennett, I know you're an owl lover, OB-ho and all that, but are you capable of pushing that to the side for a moment and appreciating your alma mater going 5-1 against Owls in this regular season?
I can really appreciate it. It's actually 2 straight wins over Owls and 4 of their last 6 wins over Owls. So
what I'm saying.
I know we joke about it. That is actually insane. Like, it'd be if it was like, I know we're the Tigers. There's other Tigers out there. It is insane that we have all the Owls in our conference. I don't understand that at all.
You ever want to know? You ever want to know you need to change leagues? Just look around and see how many owls. Look around, see how many owls are in your neighborhood. If
Really
you got
weird.
too many owls in your neighborhood, it's time to get out the neighborhood.
To go.
You need to be in a neighborhood with Tigers. And you know what? Rebels. I'll take Rebels. Bulldogs are great. Bulldogs are usually pretty good. But if you look around and you're in a league with a bunch of owls, if you walk out to check the mail one day at the end of your driveway and you look around and the other people checking the mail in your neighborhood are owls, you got to find a new neighborhood, Bennett. We've talked about this.
Yeah, I'd rather be in a league with more carnivores. I think I'd like more
That's
carnivores
what I'm
in
trying
my
to tell
league.
you.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
So I'm not obviously glad that they pulled it out last night. I'm not surprised by how it went. I kind of talked to you about this yesterday, and I was just I think my thoughts when you asked me about the game were just win, just win it any way you can, because I didn't think it'd be a great crowd. It's a Wednesday night against Rice. It's hard to get over that one. I didn't watch that game last night and think, what's wrong with the Tigers? They're falling apart down the stretch. This is a sign of things to come. This is a disaster. I just thought, man, dang it. Like now they're in a game and now they've got to find a point to turn it on. Probably took a little too long to turn it on, but they did when it was go time, and they ultimately got the win. So I'm not concerned about a sign of things to come or anything like that. I wanted to win any way possible.
Yeah, listen, I'd rather them shoot 43% from 3 and win by 27 and improve the computer numbers and, leave no reason for anybody to sit around asking if they're going to be sharp enough when the bracket is released on Selection Sunday. As always, we'll see about that. But, it is what it is. They avoided what would have been a terrible loss that bumped them down the seed list, and that's good enough for me. So now they're 23-5 overall, 13-2 in the AAC. Got a 1-game lead in the loss column of the league standings over both North Texas and UAB. And that brings us to what is actually, no goofing around here.
I'm stoked.
A huge game.
Let's go.
Huge game on Sunday afternoon. Memphis at UAB. Not only is it a classic battle for the bones, it's also a battle between Dane Danger and Yaxel Lindeborg. They have real beef, those two, man. Are you looking forward to this?
I am looking forward to it. I mean, I hope PJ Haggerty doesn't get assalted in this game like he did last night. PJ Haggerty should sue the AAC for assault. He should, bro.
Okay.
Last night was outrageous. I try not to bag on officials like that. I think that's I don't know. Anytime your team loses and you come in and bag on officials, that's dumb. But, dude, PJ Haggerty was getting destroyed last night. And you never even see Penny get mad. Like, Penny was getting mad at the officials. He rarely goes after the refs. And PJ got the technical. And I've seen a bunch of people talking about it, and I completely agree. Last night was outrageous, dude. Like, that's one of it's one of the skills of PJ. PJ's good at getting at the line, and he was just getting hammered last night and no calls.
What is it about what is it about league guards in Memphis jerseys that will not allow officials to give them a good whistle, whether it's John Morant or PJ Haggerty? We can't get calls.
I wonder what is it? Something in the building? Is there something in the air? Maybe that's something to do with it, huh?
It could be. It could be something in the air. I can't speak to that for sure. What I can tell you is that we got real beef on Sunday afternoon between Dane Danger and Yaxel Lindeborg. Do you know the backstory here? Are you familiar? Do I need to catch you up, or you know what's going on?
I know what's going on. Yeah, they well, because what did Yaxel say about him? He started it, right? He started it.
I actually think Dane Danger started.
Did he? Okay, remind me what happened here.
Okay, to the best of my recollection and to the best of my Google searches, Memphis and UAB played earlier this season, and Dane Danger had a pretty good game. He was 21 and 8, got 21 points, 8 rebounds. Memphis won it fairly easily, and they won by 23, 177. Yep. And after the game, in the post-game media availability, Dane just said something along the lines of, I didn't know who he was until we got the scouting report talking about Yaxel, and said, somebody said something about the player of the year and having this type of performance against the AAC preseason player of the year. And Dane just said, hey, no disrespect. And anytime somebody starts with no disrespect, they're about to be disrespectful. That's just like
I think that's true.
It's almost always true. If somebody says, hey, no disrespect, or respectfully, hey, respectfully, but like you look like you've gained 20 pounds. Like anytime somebody starts it like that, the next thing is going to be disrespectful.
That's right.
So Dane just said, hey, no disrespect, bro. No disrespect. But preseason player of the year? I didn't really see that. So then that quote, gets on social media, starts making the rounds. And then Yaxel, he jumped on social media, quote tweeted it, and said, congrats on the best game of your career, bro. I'll see you. And that's a fun thing to tweet back in January, but now it's late February, and you know what comes after late February? Early March. And you know what comes in early March? Memphis at UAB down in Birmingham. I'll see you is now here. I'll see you comes on Sunday. Are you ready for the battle for the bone, starring Dane Danger and Yaxel Lindeborg?
I'm ready. Now UAB's got a big game tonight at Wichita State that they've got to get by first. Which you're rooting for them if you're a Memphis fan. Like you want this game to be as big as possible. For one, if you win, it's obviously a nice win on your resume. But two, if you lose, it's not a landmine like a lot of these AAC games can potentially be. So they got a big one tonight. I am excited about it. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I'm just going to say, I hear you. It's not, it wouldn't be as bad of a loss as most of the losses you can take in the AAC, but nobody outside of the AAC is going to respect the loss at UAB. It's not like people are going to look at that and be like, well, sometimes you lose at Mississippi State and sometimes you lose at Missouri and sometimes you lose at UAB. Okay. What are you going to do? It won't be viewed that way. In fact, I understand your point. I think I would root against them because you're still chasing a conference championship and they are one of the teams that's in position to take it from you.
That's a good point. That's a good point. If they lose tonight, you can take a loss there and still be the front runner to win the conference.
In theory, depending on what happens with North Texas.
Yeah.
But this is my point. Memphis has been, and as you can tell, my voice is still doing exactly what it was doing.
Oh, it's okay. I'm trying to help you here.
I appreciate you. When you see me struggling, just jump right in and start talking about whatever you want to talk about. Memphis has been the best team in the AAC all season.
Yep.
Memphis is the best team in the AAC right now. But if you want to understand how big Sunday's game is in Birmingham, understand that if the Tigers lose, they will have 3 AAC losses. And as of this moment, that is the same number that North Texas has. Mm-hmm. As of this moment, that is the same number that UAB has. So you lose on Sunday, you are suddenly at risk of, in theory, finishing as low as 3rd in the AAC. And that would just be a wild place to be on Monday morning when we have for months and months and months been talking about Memphis is going to be your AAC regular season champs. PJ Haggerty is going to be your AAC player of the year. Penny Hardaway is going to be your AAC coach of the year. All of that, I believe, is still a likely scenario right now. I would still pick all of those things right now. But if you lose on Sunday, you might be in a position at that point where the best thing you can do is share the league title. And that's even by winning out. And the worst case scenario is you could end up finishing third in the league standings, particularly if you take another loss. And if you do that, I promise you, they're going to try to give that Coach of the Year award to Ross Hodge or somebody else.
Damn. Not Ross Hodge.
It could be Ross Hodge.
Yeah.
Don't mess up on Sunday and let Ross Hodge take your AAC Coach of the Year award.
No,
that's where we're at.
Yeah, I think the thing is, man, is I'm just glad to have a big game this weekend.
Yes.
Like, it has been forever. I mean, it has been forever since you can realistically be like, this is a huge game for the Tigers. Like, this is a really big game for them. Like you said, the stakes are high. You lose, and you got a chance to lose this conference. So I'm excited about it. And I've told you before, I stand on it. I know I bag on the league every time we talk about the Tigers. I do appreciate the UAB, quote unquote rivalry. Like, I actually like that there is a team that is close to us that we don't like and they don't like us, and they're not, hot garbage all the time.
Right. Like, we have never, I don't mean to speak for all Memphians or University of Memphis alums or Memphis fans, but I think this is right. You correct me if I'm wrong. Memphians have never looked at UAB as a peer the way it once looked at Louisville as a peer. Whether Louisville ever looked at us as a peer or not, we were like, it's Memphis, Louisville, and that's who we want to be, and we're an equal to them and whatever. I don't think Memphis ever viewed UAB like that exactly, but we have been in conferences, different variations, conferences with them for a long time. They are, a drivable rival, and we have real history with them. I mean, Pierre Niles slapped a fan one time.
God, that was one of the greatest. That was when they were down 7 with like a minute left in the game and came back and won. That was the 2008 season.
So wild that just was nothing. Right. That just happened and just nothing came of it. Like, nobody, it just was something everybody laughed about.
Bro, that dude deserved to get slapped.
If that happened tonight in college basketball, it would lead SportsCenter, and everybody with a Twitter account would have something big to say about it. It would be trending like Mary Kate down at Ole Miss,
Yeah.
And yet when it actually, I just remember thinking, like, a Memphis basketball player just slapped a fan, and nobody cares.
That's hilarious.
When you're winning the way John Calipari was winning, I guess you can get away with some stuff, and perhaps that was an example of that. But we have real history with them.
Yep.
A player has slapped a fan before. That's a fact. And now, let's say 2 of the best players, because I don't want to be disrespectful to P.J. Haggerty and Tyrese Hunter, but 2 of the best players on the 2 rosters seem to not like each other. And one of them said, hey, I'll see you next time, bro. Congrats on the best game of your career. And last night, Dane Danger was like, don't even ask me about Buddy down there in Birmingham. Mm-hmm. I'll see him on Sunday.
That's the new. I love how disrespectful the word buddies become these days. That's the new disrespectful. Yeah. Don't tell me. I'm not talking. Last night in the presser, he's like, I'm not talking about Buddy.
I like it when you just use little words for people, but you refuse to say their name. I'm fired up. Bennett, I'd be lying to you if I told you I was fired up for every Memphis basketball game this season because, I'd rather watch a good team play a good team as opposed to a good team play a bunch of teams that shouldn't even be in the same conference as this good team. But here's the truth. I am fired up for this one on Sunday. This is a big game. It could decide, let's just keep it simple, the conference race, the coach of the year race, and perhaps, I don't think so, but perhaps the player of the year race as well. Big, a lot on the line Sunday afternoon. I can't wait.
A lot on the line. I think they'll play better, again, because you got to get up for that game. It's going to be a hostile crowd. Like, I think they'll thrive off of it. I think that they won't have any trouble getting about. Maybe they had a little trouble coming out of the gate last night. I don't think they'll have any trouble getting up for this game. By the way, I do have some breaking news. This is from Jason Munns, great Memphis basketball beat writer for the Commercial Appeal. He says that he believes there's only one non-AAC Owls program, and that would be the Kennesaw State Owls. So we got all that.
Well,
if Kennesaw State wants to come on down, we probably got a spot for you.
Hey, give it 5 months. Give it 5 months.
They'll be here.
Oh, man. Kennesaw State will be flying an AAC banner proud.
Yeah.
They'll be flying their AAC banner proud. Big game on Sunday, Memphis UAB. Dane Danger against Yaxel Lindeborg. Ken Palm, if you're interested, projects it Memphis 84, UAB 79. So Penny's Tigers will be favored on the road to succeed in what we love to call the battle for the bones. When we come back, Mike Wallace going to join me, senior editor, Grind City Media. We'll turn our attention to the Grizzlies. Knicks are in town on Friday night. Tickets available, Grizzlies.com. Mike Wallace going to join me next. It's the Gary Parrish Show presented by Ortho South.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing beats catching your Grizzlies IRL, and nobody knows that better than you. So next time you want to hit up a game, Ticketmaster's got your back with tickets to every upcoming matchup. Whether you're catching the Grizzlies at home or on the road, you'll find tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Keep putting that jersey collection to use and get Grizzlies tickets today. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside again soon, Memphis.
Our fans have a huge impact on our ability to play to the level that we're striving for.
Drop off, Morant. Oh! Well, you wanted home crowd involvement.
I love those moments where you see our guys engaging in the fans, and the fans just get pumped up.
They are standing in FedEx Forum.
I would hate to be on the other side with the opposition when FedEx Forum's rolling. That's such an unbelievable relationship that our group has with our fans.
If you go to a hustle game, you're going to see a very fast-paced game. A lot of action, both offensively, defensively.
Nice rejection right there.
In a great environment at the Lander Center. You could bring family there, kids are running around.
Down the lane and one for Zion Poland.
And then you're going to see a lot of talented basketball players competing at a high level.
When it's all on the line, you turn to the strong, the stable, the unwavering. To those with a history of raising their performance, to meet the moment. It's true in basketball. It's true in banking. Grizzlies Checking from Pinnacle. Play hard, bank easy. Open a Grizzlies checking account with at least $100 and a recurring direct deposit by August 31st, and you could receive a $200 direct deposit bonus into your account. Details at grizzliesbanking.com. Member FDIC.
Sonic Radio. Welcome back to Sonic RNDIO. That spells radio with me, the CIO. This just in, the new Sonic $1.99 menu lets you build a crave-worthy meal for just $1.99 an item, whether that's a creamy shake, crispy tots, or a quarter-pound double cheeseburger. This just out. Ostriches. They're mean, not very cute, and in my opinion, way too big for a bird. Don't miss the Sonic Fun 99 menu. 5 items, always $1.99. Live free, eat Sonic.
Tax not included. See menu for details.
Welcome back. Gary Parrish Show presented by Ortho South. I'm in New York City. Bennett Doyle back inside the Built Ford Tough studio. And I'm joined now by senior editor, Grind City Media. It's the great Mike Wallace. Mike Wallace, it's GP. How you doing?
Hey, doing great, GP. Good to see you again, man. And hey, we're almost in March right now. I know it's a really hectic and busy time for both of us, man. So keep doing that great work you're doing, man. And we'll see you back in studio at some point before 2025 is over with.
That's very sweet. And likewise, I can see the finish line through blurred eyes, through blurred and tired eyes. I can see the finish line, as one of my bosses told me yesterday. He had it counted down to the day of the national championship game. We're not too far away. So I'll be back on a normal routine at some point. Let's talk Grizzlies. The other night, wild game inside FedEx Forum, get to overtime, beat the Suns. Ja Morant takes over in the fourth, continues that in the extra period. I watched you talk to him after the game in the locker room. He was engaging. He was thoughtful. Just smart talking basketball stuff. I just thought everything we saw, maybe not in quarter one, quarter two, quarter three, but certainly the way it closed, everything we saw afterwards. I guess if Grizz fans are waiting for a turning point in Ja Morant's season, that's a place to point to and say, hey, maybe that's it. It was a fun night.
Oh, it definitely was a fun night. I would also say that Orlando game where he took over in the fourth quarter to help bring the Grizzlies back in that game too. That was, Ja sort of picking his moments. I think we've gotten so spoiled and so used to just Ja being, dominant and explosive quarter to quarter, as he was, before some of these issues that happened over the last 2 seasons. But this might require something different of Ja right now. This team is requiring something different of Ja. And it can't be a game-to-game challenge to figure out how he's going to be impactful. I think his game is dynamic enough to where he can be something different on a night-to-night basis. Some nights he's going to have it as a facilitator. Some nights he's going to show you a little bit more defensive tenacity than others. But what we do know is when it's game time and it's money time in the fourth quarter, Ja Morant is not afraid of the moment, and he showed that against the Phoenix Suns.
You've been around this sport for a long time. You've covered the best of the best. And there was a stat floating around. Sean Coleman tweeted it after the victory over Phoenix that basically illustrated, over the past 3 decades, quite literally nobody is better in late game situations, clutch moments, strictly defined the way he defined them. But nobody, not Kobe, not Jordan, not LeBron, is better in those moments or has hit a higher percentage of shots in those moments than Ja Morant. And I don't believe that is because Ja Morant is the best basketball player who's ever lived in the past 3 or 4 decades. I believe it's because mentally he is built for that moment. People are wired in certain ways, and you either, if you're playing shortstop in the 12-year-old state tournament in the bottom of the 7th, you either want that ball hit to you or you're praying it's hit somewhere else. If you're in a golf tournament, you either want an 8-foot putt to win it or you pray it doesn't come down to something like that. And Ja is the guy who wants the putt, who wants the ball hit to him, and in basketball wants the ball in his hands, and that's a special attribute that you either got or you don't have.
Yeah. And you know what, to that same extent, I used to hear Kobe Bryant say this, and Michael Jordan has said this, Tiger Woods, Tom Brady, they would always say, hey, it's not about being great in those moments that makes me come through. It's the ability to say, you know what, I can live with the consequences if it doesn't go my way. And it takes that kind of ability and that kind of resilience and that kind of fearlessness to say, you know what, I may not make the shot, but I can live with it if I don't, because I know I put in the work to put myself in position to make these plays. And I think Ja has that. And he does it in different ways. Like, he's not afraid to making a big pass in the moment when he needs to make the big pass. He has the athletic ability to hit the floater. He has the ability to get to the spot or the shot that he wants. And if it goes in, it goes in. And if it doesn't, he's fine, because he knows that he put himself in position that few other people on the planet can put themselves in position to do. And I think that speaks to his success in those moments. But it starts with that fearlessness of living with the consequences regardless of what the outcome is.
Also in that Phoenix game, Jalen Wells got a lot of attention. He made 5 3-pointers. He finished with 19 points. He's taking tough defensive assignments. I thought it was interesting. Donovan Mitchell had a quote that got a lot of attention specifically about Jalen Wells. Donovan Mitchell is a NBA veteran, all-star, leading maybe the best team in the world. He's not necessarily expected to be fully aware and familiar with a second-round pick in the Western Conference who happens to be playing for the Grizzlies, but he talked extensively about him and said, no, I noticed him a while ago. I've been watching him a lot. He can really shoot it. He's comfortable. I know we in Memphis have been talking about Jalen Wells like really since the early weeks of the season. But when Donovan Mitchell is aware of him and people around the league that got no affiliation with Memphis are talking Rookie of the Year stuff, it's starting to get noticed outside of our region, I guess is what I'm asking you.
Yeah, and it is. And I think there are a couple of reasons why that is. It's because he's being put on the top perimeter guys out there. And most of the stars in the league are perimeter-oriented guys, whether it's SGA in Oklahoma City, Donovan Mitchell, obviously, in Cleveland. You go around the league. I mean, it doesn't matter who it is. Anthony, Edwards in Minnesota, Damian Lillard in Milwaukee. Like, Jalen has been on all of those guys. Like, every single one of them has gotten a taste of what Jalen's defense is about. And, the best play that Jalen Wells made all season to me wasn't a big-time shot, even though he had 2 big threes in that overtime. It was when he took that charge on Grayson Allen trying to get through that screen, because he had been trying to get that call all season long, and he never gets it. And he finally got it in an overtime situation in a clutch game, and the referees respected his defense enough to say, this isn't right. The offensive guy was more aggressive. Jalen, you were in position. And when I talked to him after the game in the locker room, that's the play that he kept harping on, was taking that charge and being caught up in that screen like that. So, when you have that, and it also factors in that the Grizzlies, have, a top 3 record in the West. So no other rookie is playing on a team that's winning the way that the Grizzlies are in terms of being an impact rookie. Reese Sachet is playing for the Hawks. They're sort of meandering right now. Sarr is at the bottom of the league with the Wizards. Even Stephon Castle, who I absolutely love. He's one of my top 5 players overall in the league. The Spurs are just kind of hit and miss right now. So Jalen is playing on an impactful team, starting and getting the toughest assignments. You have to notice that guy, and that's why the Stars are noticing him.
I think a lot of people, myself included, assumed that at some point down the stretch of this regular season, we will see Jalen Wells' minutes start to come down, Vince Williams' minutes start to go up. Eventually, Vince Williams move into the starting lineup because, let's be honest, it's a wonderful story, but second-round picks don't play starting roles and prominent roles on Western Conference contenders. And yet, a couple of nights ago, he played 40 minutes against a team with Kevin Durant and Devin Booker and Bradley Beal, and he played well, and he looked comfortable, and he had the big dunk in overtime. Maybe I'm selling him a little short. Maybe he is ready to play that role as a rookie. What do you make of that?
You also have to ask, why not, right? Why would a rookie be in a position to start on a team that's in the Western, Conference playoff race, and at a certain point, rookies aren't supposed to be here? Absolutely. You know what I mean? But he's all season long, he's been proven maybe he is supposed to be a first-round pick. Maybe he should have been a lottery pick. Maybe he should be a starter. Like, every step of the way, incrementally over the course of the season, he's validating why he continues to get the opportunities that he's getting. And then you also are only as good as the alternative, right? What are the alternatives right now? Vince Williams Jr. is still working his way back conditioning-wise and rhythm-wise. He's missed a lot of time. He's played less than 10 games all season long. So, he's not necessarily where he needs to be in terms of conditioning and NBA shape and fitting into the system and all of those things. So those are things that have to catch up a little bit more. And then when you look past Vince Williams Jr., what are the other alternatives? Is John Conchar going to get those minutes over Jalen Wells? Probably not. Luke Kennard is getting his minutes, but they're not necessarily coming at the expense of Jalen all the time. G.G. Jackson, Jalen Wells is more in rhythm with this team, this current iteration of the team, whereas G.G. Jackson, like Vince Williams, is having to play catch-up because the system and the rotations and everything has changed from what we remember from them last year. So Jalen Wells is positioned ideally to continue to keep his minutes as long as he's producing, and because he defends the way he does, he's going to keep getting those opportunities.
A couple of things elsewhere around the NBA. Last night, the Pistons beat the Celtics to improve to 33-26. It's becoming one of the more interesting stories in the league, considering how bad they were last season. Do you believe in this Pistons team? Not as a threat to Cleveland or Boston, but as somebody who, can get into the postseason and maybe win a playoff series.
Why not? Like that's the other thing too. I mean, because, I think right now, if you stop and say, for me, who is my, coach of the year in the NBA is JB Bickerstaff for what he's done with this Detroit Pistons team. I mean, this team isn't just one that's, kind of showing you a little bit of what they're capable of. They're actually doing it. I mean, they've won, 7, 8 in a row. They're beating teams now that are sort of ahead of them in the pecking order. They're climbing up that Eastern Conference ladder a little bit, and they can still contend for a home court advantage seed in the first round right there. And who would have thought that? Coming out of the season or the last 2 seasons that they had. I'm a Monty Williams guy. He's a former, we went to high school together, played on the same team in high school, and I love Monty Williams. But JB Bickerstaff is showing that maybe it wasn't all the roster and the players and maybe it was, some guy, a new voice was needed, and you turn these guys around and they're playing phenomenal basketball. I've always been a fan of Jalen Duren. I love the way he develops. He's developed. And Cade Cunningham could be the most improved player in the NBA right now. And then you add, Beasley and some of the other pieces that are there too. Reggie Jackson is there too as another veteran that's contributing for those guys. I believe it's Reggie Jackson or Dennis Schroeder. One of the two is there as well too. And it's one of those teams that they can be dangerous if you catch them in the first round of the playoffs.
Last thing before I let you go, if the Pistons are the good in the East, the Sixers are the bad. They've now lost 9 straight. They're 20-38. Paul George is going to pause this podcast, I think, for optics more than any other reason. You can't keep yapping all the time and getting paid $50 million and can't win a basketball game. Joel Embiid sounds like he's headed for some new procedure, and fingers crossed. Just it's a mess. How do you, if you're a franchise, how do you dig yourself out of this thing that they've created?
Well, I mean, I can empathize with Paul George because I paused my NBA career to work on this media thing. You know what I'm saying?
There you go.
To commit more to this media thing, right? So, it's kind of the same thing, only it's not. But at the end of the day, I listen, that Philadelphia situation is a disaster. I picked them as a team that really could threaten the Knicks or rival with the Knicks did in the offseason and threaten what Boston has done in the Eastern Conference. And it's gone the exact opposite way. Joel Embiid bet on himself and prioritized playing for Team USA and winning a gold medal. And everybody knew at that time he might be sacrificing something for the Sixers coming up this season. And as it turned out, yes, it is. Like he's never physically been able to get going this season. That's been a disappointment. And now you're going to start hearing, trade rumors. Is he going to force his way out? Does he want to be there? Paul George already looks like he regrets being there. But, hey, they gave him all of the money that the Clippers wouldn't give him. So, if you're the Sixers, you got to figure out a way. Look, let's just reset everything. Let's rebuild around Maxey, because we do have a young superstar. And if we're going to pivot and go a different direction, we have assets that we could try to sell off or trade out and just reload around the new process. And that's Maxey at this point.
That is Mike Wallace at Grind City Media. Make sure you're following him on X at My Mike Check. That's at My Mike Check. He'll be inside FedEx Forum Friday night. Grizzlies-Knicks, big-time game between contenders in the East and West. Tickets available, Grizzlies.com. Mike Wallace, you're the best, buddy. I appreciate your time. I'll see you soon.
All right, thanks a lot, man. Appreciate it.
All right, bye-bye. That's Mike Wallace, Grind City Media on X at My Mike Check. That's at My Mike Check. When we come back, turn our attention back to college basketball. Auburn played Ole Miss last night down in Neville Arena and just beat them by 30. Like, they beat just about everybody else by 30. Bruce Pearl's team is outrageous. The numbers are incredible. I'll share them with you next. Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing compares to catching your Grizzlies IRL. And that all starts with buying tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Ticketmaster gets you to the game so you can catch every highlight. Put that jersey collection to use for the next game and get Grizzlies tickets at Ticketmaster. Whether they're here at FedEx Forum or on the road, Ticketmaster's got your back when it comes to scoring tickets. And there's no better brag than saying you saw it live.
Let's face it, there's a lot of trash talk in basketball, but the great teams let their performance do the talking. Like Ford F-150 with Pro Power on board, a class-exclusive industry-first feature that turns your truck into a mobile generator and leaves the competition speechless. Ford F-150, official truck of the Grizzlies. Greatness starts here at your Mid-South Ford dealer. Class is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds, GVWR.
Our fans have a huge impact on our ability to play to the level that we're striving for.
Drop off, Durant. Oh! Well, you wanted home crowd involvement.
I love those moments where you see our guys engaging in the fans and the fans just get pumped up.
They are standing at FedEx Forum.
I would hate to be on the other side with the opposition when FedEx Forum's rolling. That's such an unbelievable relationship that our group has with our fans.
At the National Civil Rights Museum, history moves us forward. The question remains, how does history move you?
Keep on talking, marching up to freedom now.
Dance Kid Dance Tour. Live in Memphis. FedEx Forum, Saturday, August 30th. With special guests, Bush and Morgan Wade. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Shinedown, live in concert. For more, visit shinedown.com.
Orthopedic injuries can be unpredictable, unforeseen, and unscheduled, and Ortho South understands this better than anyone. Since your injuries don't make appointments, you don't need to either. And that's because Ortho South welcomes walk-ins during the weekdays and the evenings and even on Saturday. So next time an unforeseen injury makes an unscheduled appearance in your life, visit orthosouth.org to find your nearest urgent care location. Just walk in, and Ortho South will take care of everything, especially you. Learn more at orthosouth.org. That's orthosouth at orthosouth.org. Now I got 5 more things you need to know.
Number 1.
Final score. Number 1, Auburn, 106. Ole Miss, 76. Bennett, you took Chris Beard's Rebels plus 13.5.
Man.
Woo! This one got out of hand pretty quickly. I mentioned yesterday, not as a shot at anybody, just to provide context, that there were a couple basketball games played last night. I mean, a lot of basketball games, but let's just focus on 2 for a second. One down at Auburn, one inside FedEx Forum. Auburn was playing, let's just start with Memphis. Memphis was playing some Owls. And with all due respect to Rice, they're just not very good, right? Nobody, I would never say, hey, what do you think of Rice? And somebody would say, yeah, they're pretty good. Nobody would say that. I could say, hey, what do you think of Ole Miss? You'd be like, man, Chris Beard, he's done a nice job down there. They're pretty good. You know, you're never going to hear anybody say that about Rice, all right?
Fair.
Memphis is good. Memphis has been ranked most of the season. Memphis is a good basketball team. Memphis was a 13.5-point favorite over that bad Rice team. Auburn was a 13.5-point favorite over Ole Miss. Like, that's how good Auburn is, that it can be as big of a favorite over an undeniably good Ole Miss team as Memphis is over Rice. Auburn is operating on a different level. And then they just go out and smash them. I understand why you took Ole Miss plus 13.5. Because you know what you look at? You go, well, God, I know Ole Miss is good and Chris Beard is great. So, like, 13.5, buddy, that's a lot of points. And then you look up and Auburn just beats them by 30. They scored 1.49 points per possession, which is like their best offensive output in the past 30 years. And they're now 15-2 in quadrant 1. So they have 6 more quadrant 1 victories than anybody else in the country and fewer losses than anybody else in the country. I had a producer last night note, because we were preparing the late show, and he was like, because at the time Duke had passed Auburn in the net ratings. Auburn had, after last night, passed Duke again, but there was a moment yesterday where Duke was number 1 in the net and also number 1 at KenPom. And so the question was like, so what does this mean? Does this mean that no? If the tournament started today, Auburn would be the number 1 overall seed. Easy, not even debatable. You ready? If Auburn loses its next game and the tournament started immediately after that, Auburn would be the number 1 overall seed in the NCAA tournament. Not even debatable. Ready? If Auburn lost its next game after that and the tournament started immediately after that, Auburn would be the number 1 overall seed, and it's not even debatable. Like I've said at this point 75 times, don't think of this as a basketball season. Think of it as a golf tournament, and Auburn is Tiger Woods in his prime. Auburn is got a 5-shot lead on the back 9. Auburn could hit its next tee shot in the water, drop, hit another ball in the water, drop, get up and down, double bogey, whatever, and still be completely fine. They're going to be the number 1 overall seed in the NCAA tournament on Selection Sunday, and will be the favorite to win the whole thing. At one point it was Connecticut. At one point it was Kansas. At one point it was co-favorites Duke and Auburn. Right now it is Auburn, and if you're watching the games and looking at the numbers, you can understand why. They got maybe not the best NBA prospect in the country. That's Cooper Flagg. But it looks like Auburn has the best player in Janai Broome and the best team, not only in the SEC, but in the country. Just to illustrate it in another way, the SEC is rating right now as not just the toughest league in the country, but as the toughest men's basketball league of all time. and Auburn is leading it by multiple games and beating other top 25 caliber teams by 20, 25, and 30 points. Outrageous what Bruce Pearl is doing. He's about to be, barring a surprise or a collapse, the National Coach of the Year.
Number 2.
Wild game at Maryland last night. I know we don't talk Big Ten basketball too much, and we won't here, but incredible late game situation. Michigan State wins it 58-55. Let's watch this final sequence. It was tied 55-55. Maryland at home with the ball. Shot clock off. There's no way you're supposed to lose this game in regulation if you're Maryland. You're supposed to win it or go to overtime, but somebody took a shot a little too early. Let's watch it together, Kyra.
Gotta go. Gillespie for 3. Goal or no. Holloman looks the clock. Half court for the win. Oh my goodness. Holloman from half court to win it on the road.
That was
Wild
awesome.
situation.
That was awesome.
So Jacoby Gillespie is the Maryland player there. And he had just made a couple of free throws to tie the game at 55. So he's feeling himself a little bit. They end up with the ball, and he pulls from about 5 feet too deep and pulls with a little more than 4 seconds left on the clock. Like every basketball coach will tell you, you've got the ball, shot clock off, tie score. We're either winning this game in regulation or we're going to overtime. But there's no scenario where we're letting enough clock be left so that they can even get a shot off on us to end it if we happen to miss or turn it over or whatever. And yet Gillespie goes early and long rebound. Michigan State secures it, quickly gets it to Trey Holloman. And he, yes, lets a beyond half court heave go. And yes, it's a lucky shot. That's the way Tom Izzo described it afterwards. But it's still a shot you cannot allow the other team to take. You can't even allow that to happen. And that's just poor late game management by a college basketball player who is probably going to have hell today in film. So Michigan State wins, Maryland loses. And what's wild is it is things like that. A poor decision by Jacoby Gillespie and a miracle shot by Trey Holloman that could end up enhancing Tom Izzo's Wikipedia page. Because earlier this season, he already became the all-time winningest coach in Big Ten history, passing Bob Knight. Nobody's won more Big Ten games than Tom Izzo at the age of 70. Right now, he has 10 Big Ten titles. The record is 11, held by a former Purdue coach and a former Indiana coach. The former Indiana coach, of course, is Bob Knight. The Big Ten title is still very much up for grabs. Michigan and Michigan State play on the final Sunday of the regular season on CBS, America's most watched network of stars, and it'll probably come down to that game. But we might look up in a few weeks and say accurately, Michigan State won the Big Ten by a game or shared the Big Ten with somebody else. And neither of those things would have been possible if not for Trey Holloman making a beyond half court shot on February 26th. In other words, Tom Izzo could be both of these things by the end of the season. The all-time winningest coach in the Big Ten and a man who has as many Big Ten titles as anybody else who's ever lived. And it could really be a byproduct of a poor decision by a Maryland player and a half-court heave by a Michigan State player on February 26, 2025. So a lot of these legacy type of things, I always find it interesting. Mm-hmm. They come down to just random things that often have nothing to do with the person we're actually talking about. Like LeBron's legacy is in some ways tied to an offensive rebound kick out to Ray Allen, quick three. Like if not for that sequence happening, that quite literally had nothing to do with LeBron James. It's one less title for LeBron James. And his legacy is discussed differently than it is as it is. So these things are not unique to Michigan State or college basketball. They're littered throughout sports history, but there's a pretty good one for you. Michigan State could be your Big Ten champs. Tom Izzo could add another trophy, and it could have been the byproduct of a poor decision by a Maryland player and a wild shot by a Michigan State player.
Number 3.
We got NFL media beef in Indianapolis.
I saw
at
this.
The JW Marriott Starbucks. Oh, buddy, you ain't never covered a Final Four if you ain't been to that Starbucks at the JW Marriott.
Oh,
That's where
it does
down.
numbers, I'm sure.
Oh, it does numbers.
Yeah.
Oh, if you got to get a latte, iced or hot. That's where you're going. So, our friends Ian Rappaport, I'm dying, Bennett.
Yeah, get it out, man. Get it out. You want me to tell this story? So Ian Rappaport and Jordan Schultz.
You handle the rest of the show.
You want me to handle the rest of the show today? Okay,
I'm gonna mute myself. You just handle the rest of the show.
Okay, so Jordan Schultz and Ian Rappaport they had a confrontation at a Starbucks in Indianapolis. Jordan Schultz works for Yahoo, I believe that's true. I believe he works for Yahoo Sports. Ian Rappaport, of course, NFL Network fame, and so apparently there was like I guess it was a report or something. I want to see what they were actually arguing over because they're both obviously NFL newsbreakers.
All right, I'm back. I'm back. Let me try it.
But Schultz started it.
Okay. Without boring anybody with the details. Plus, I ain't got many words left in me, so let's just keep it moving.
Uh-huh.
At some point, I'm going to realize, you can't keep telling people it's okay to work if you can't speak and your job is to talk. It's like I went in studio last night and one of my bosses was like, so are you okay to work? I was like, yeah, I feel fine. And then, I was like, I feel fine. I just have trouble talking sometimes. And we're like, okay, yeah, whatever. And then, I'm halfway through the night last night. It's like, it doesn't matter how I feel. If my job is to speak and I can't speak, I shouldn't be working,
Accurate.
And it's like I'm on national television last night and I'm struggling to speak. Like, the same thing that happens here, the wind, I just lose it. It happens you've been working with me long enough. This is like, because people hear me do this and they're like, I got so many text messages yesterday. I appreciate them. They're very sweet that anybody even cares. But they're like, GP, you got to go to the doctor or whatever. And like, I hear you. I'm not ignorant to that. But like, this is just something that happens to me every season based off of the travel and the long hours and the, I'm not complaining. I'm just explaining. This is something that is very normal for me. But it's not ideal when your job is to talk and you find yourself in a situation where it's difficult to talk. So if I can't speak better by tomorrow, we might have to figure something out because you know what every doctor and everybody else would tell you to do when you get to a point where you can't speak in complete sentences anymore. They'd say, you know what you need to do? You need to rest. And I don't really have time to rest unless I actually just detach from work. So I'll figure it out. Bennett, I'll figure it out.
Okay.
Here's what happened in Indianapolis. So, as I understand it, Jordan Schultz reported something. It doesn't matter what it was. It was just something. NFL insider type of stuff, right? And then Ian Rappaport goes on the NFL Network, and they ask him about it because this is what we do in sports media now. Somebody over here says something, and then they go, ooh, did you hear what so-and-so said? And then you end up having to talk about what so-and-so said. So-and-so said this. What do you think about that? Now we're just talking, and this is how we fill up all these hours every day. And so Ian Rappaport's asked about it. And so Jordan Schultz is reporting. And Ian Rappaport's like, yeah, whatever. I don't think that's a real thing. It's not whatever. It just sort of was dismissive of it.
Yep.
It'd be like, hey, GP, did you hear Bennett said blah, blah, blah? And I was like, yeah, but Bennett, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Don't bring that to me. It was just sort of perhaps properly disrespectful, but disrespectful. Like I, as somebody who has reported stuff before, you feel like you got some news, you put it out there, and then you watch a competitor just shit on it. You're like, yo, man, what was that about? So whoever started it, I guess it depends on where you want to put the starting point, but that's the way it went down. Jordan Schultz reported something. Ian Rappaport kind of shit on it on the air. And then they find themselves, because the entire NFL media and front offices and everybody is in Indianapolis right now for the Combine. They find themselves in a Starbucks, which is hilarious because Jordan Schultz, of course, is the son of former Starbucks CEO and founder. Do you know that?
No, I did not know that.
Oh, yeah.
So this is his stomping grounds.
This is Jordan Schultz's father is the man who created Starbucks.
Dude, that would have been.
You didn't know that?
I did not know that. That's how he should have like approached this whole thing instead of like I would have just walked up to him and been like, "Get out,
get out of my dad's shop.
Get out. I run this place, bro."
You're not allowed to have a latte. You're not allowed to have a $9
that's my
latte.
That's my latte, buddy.
You're not allowed to have a $9 latte. All right. So Jordan Schultz sees Ian Rappaport in his stomping ground, so he feels comfortable. He's in a Starbucks. He feels comfortable. So he says, "Hey, bud." He walks up to Ian Rappaport, apparently, allegedly, this is what I read, and says, "Hey, we need to talk."
Okay.
And Ian Rappaport said, "No, we don't need to talk. No, we don't need to." And then for about a minute, it got face to face. You know, obscenities were hurled, and NFL security was called, reportedly by Ian Rappaport, because he felt threatened by Jordan Schultz. What would you do if the Starbucks CEO's son tried to fight you inside of a Starbucks? How would you handle that, Bennett?
I mean, I think I'd stand my ground. I think I'd stand my ground. Yeah, I think I'd stand my ground.
Hey,
I don't give a shit that you own Starbucks.
Hey, just by looking at you,
yeah.
Just by looking at you, I know you would stand your ground.
Uh-huh.
You look like somebody who
dump
just
that coffee on your head, bro.
You look like you just waiting to stand your ground.
Uh-huh. I like Starbucks too.
I like Starbucks.
Mm-hmm,
I got nothing against Starbucks. They make a pretty good grilled cheese, you know? Not the best grilled cheese, but a pretty good one. Like if you're starving and you got nothing else to eat, it's not bad.
No, it's not bad at all. Devin just said it's. I do love a good media beef. I do. I eat this stuff up, man. You couldn't tell me this story fast enough.
Here's the truth. Ian Rappaport might have started it by just being totally dismissive of a report that might be legitimate.
Uh-huh.
And there's clearly like some disrespect already in place there, because if your media buddy reports that, you might just like, you'll address it and move on. But he shit on it. Yeah. And you probably wouldn't do that to your media buddy. So clearly Ian Rappaport doesn't respect Jordan Schultz. I think you could, I feel comfortable with that.
I feel comfortable saying that. Yep.
Ian Rappaport does not respect Jordan Schultz as a reporter. That seems pretty clear to me. Whether he should or not, I'll let other people decide, but it seems pretty clear to me. Ian doesn't respect Jordan as a reporter, as a legitimate source. In full disclosure, I know both these guys. I consider them both friends, or I'm at least friendly with them. I got no horse in the race, as they say. But it seems pretty clear that Ian was kind of disrespectful. So if you're Jordan, you might be upset about that. But here's the truth. I've been approached by people like this before about something I've said or written or whatever. And I have said the exact same thing that Ian Rappaport said to Jordan Schultz to somebody before. They walk up and they're like, "Hey, we need to talk." And I said, "No, I don't think we do. We could have talked at any point. You want to talk to me? We could have talked before I said what I said. We don't need to talk now. I said what I said. If I didn't mean it, I wouldn't have said it. If I felt like I needed to talk to you about it, I probably either would have talked to you about it already or not said it. But there's nothing to talk about now." I sort of understand where Ian was at in that moment. Yo, man, don't run up on me. You reported what you reported. I got a job to do. I said what I said. We're not best buddies. We don't need to talk about it. What side are you on? Who you want to side with?
Well, the one thing I will say, I think maybe I was Team Ian at first, but I don't know, man. He did call the NFL security. I don't know. That seems like a little too far to me.
Is that bitch made? Is that bitch made?
I don't know if it's bitch made. I don't know, dude. Come on. Like y'all can just handle that. Like I'm not saying fight each other. I'm saying just like y'all could have probably talked through that or not talk through that. I don't know if you have to get security involved. I don't know. I don't think you have to get security involved. Although he was in Schultz's stomping grounds that we just referenced. So I wouldn't have gotten security involved, I don't think.
Yeah, that might be bitch made.
I'm not going to go that far. But I probably wouldn't have called security.
Okay, let's find fault on both sides then. All right? Let's find fault on both sides and then let's move on. I understand Ian Rappaport being like, "Yo, man, we ain't got nothing to talk about." All right, don't walk up on me in a Starbucks. All right, we're not buddies.
Yeah, so I mean, especially if it's clear that you already don't like each other. Like, whatever. Just don't like each other separately. Like, yeah.
That's right. That would be my thing. Like, if I'm at the Final Four and somebody that I'm not buddies with walks up on me and is like, "Hey, we need to talk," and I'm like, "About what?" Well, about something you said on the podcast back in February. What? What do you? We don't need to talk. We're not friends. We don't have to resolve anything.
We can just not say anything to each other, right?
Yeah, like I'm not even thinking about you, man. I see that you've been thinking about me, and that's fine. But like, no, we don't have anything to talk about. I'm not wasting my words with you. I understand that for me and Rappaport, but I think I agree with you. I would not have called security because I think that's bitch made.
Why do people, by the way, they're talking about this in the chat. Why do people always want me to fight Lang? Every time we talk about any kind of media beef, people are like, Big Man Bennett should fight Lang. I love Lang. I do a show with him every Tuesday.
You and Lang don't look like
fight him.
You and Lang don't look like y'all should fight. Y'all look like y'all should be a tag team.
Yeah, man. We're buddies. We get along great. I don't know where that came from. Let me settle that beef right now, okay? There is no beef. We're friends, okay?
You and Lang look like you could be some NXT champions.
You're damn right. We probably could. You could.
You and Lang don't need to be fighting each other. Y'all need to be teaming up in NXT. Y'all could be some NXT tag team champions. Yeah. So I think we find fault on both sides. Nobody comes out of this looking good. It's a little bit like the Mary Kate situation down at Ole Miss, no, except different.
I can't wait to see how you compare these two things.
Only in this way.
Okay.
Only in this way. Nobody comes out of it looking great.
Okay. That's, yeah. You're right. You're right.
Mary Kate doesn't come out of that looking great. Her boyfriend doesn't come out of it looking great. Boyfriend's dad certainly doesn't come out of it looking great. And similarly, I think at the Starbucks in Indianapolis, Jordan Schultz doesn't come out of this looking great. And Ian Rappaport doesn't come out of this. Look, I don't think anybody looks great here.
I don't think anybody. No, there's no winners in this one.
There's no winners in this one. There's no winners in Oxford, and there's no winners in Indianapolis. I think that's how you tie those things together.
Number 4.
Man, Woody Johnson, I think we've known for a little while, or at least suspected that he's a terrible NFL owner. But now we have confirmation by his own employees. Did you see this NFL annual team report card report?
I did, because I wanted to see where the Titans were, and I was actually surprised by our ranking. We were way higher than I expected.
So the NFL Players Association, they survey, all of their members. And Jets players graded Woody Johnson as an owner. They gave him an F. And he's the only NFL owner to get that grade from his own players. No other owner in the NFL got an F. Like, how do you handle that, you think, this is one of the most fascinating things.
Oh, I love this.
With billionaires that I just can't make sense of this.
Mm-hmm.
You accumulate all of this wealth. Either you inherit it or you create it. But it's yours. It's yours. And you can do quite literally whatever you want in the entire world.
Yep.
And you decide what you want to do is run a professional sports franchise. But then you run it so poorly that an entire segment of humans who care deeply about something hate you. And the people who work for you hate you. Like, you could just not be involved in this and be a billionaire who isn't hated. Like, do you know how many of these men and women use their billions to be hated by millions? Dan Snyder bought the Washington NFL franchise and just made everybody hate him. This is not in Charlotte, the Carolina Panthers owner. He's got all this money in the world, buys a football franchise. Everybody there hates him.
What's going on in Arizona?
Well, I mean, a lot of stuff's going on in Arizona.
They got a D- in ownership, and the Patriots got a D. I thought people liked Kraft.
I can't speak to that.
People don't like the Steelers owners either. That's the what's that family? What's the Steelers family? I can't remember. Anyways, I'm catching up with these in real time.
Okay. I just you realize let's say you had $10 billion.
Yep.
And your options are, I could buy a professional sports franchise, but then run it poorly and make millions of people hate me. Or I could just build a hospital to fight childhood cancer and the whole world would love me. Like, why wouldn't you just build the childhood cancer hospital and have the whole world love you, as opposed to run a NFL franchise poorly and have millions of people hate you? I just am fascinated by people who have billions of dollars and use those billions of dollars to create hatred for themselves. I don't think that's what I would do. At the very least, I would buy the franchise and then I would hire all the smartest people and the best people, and I'd get out of their way. And then if it went well, I would look like the best owner. And if it went poorly, I could at least honestly say, I'm doing everything I can do. It's not like my fingerprints are all over this. I'm hiring who everybody tells me are the best people, and I'm getting out of their way, and I'm giving them all the resources. Maybe I keep making bad hires, but Jesus, know that my heart's in the right place.
Tough.
But when it's Woody Johnson or, the owners of the Mavericks now, you get all these like these people bought the Mavericks, and now the entire city of Dallas hates them. They spent billions of dollars to get hated. That's just a weird way to live.
That's a weird way to live. By the way, do you know what Woody Johnson, like his where he got all of his wealth from?
I do know it, but I don't remember it now. But as soon as you say it, I'll say, of course, that's right. So
well, think of his last name.
Johnson
and
Johnson.
That's it. I'm pretty sure that's it. I hope that's right. I'm 99% sure that's true. I'm 99% sure that's true.
Okay, good. Thank you for that.
By the way, I'm looking at the Titans grades just across the board, and dude, maybe I should be optimistic about the future of this franchise because they are all good. Like, we got all B+. The only thing that we're struggling at is locker room. We got a C- there, but we're building a new locker room. We're building a new stadium, so that'll improve. So we're like A's and B's all across the board, man.
Congratulations. Now get your quarterback. Go get your quarterback.
Get a quarterback. We're the best damn franchise in the league.
On your way, at least. On your way.
On your way.
The path. On the path.
Yeah. Good stuff. Thanks, Titans.
Number 5.
Rest in peace, Gene Hackman.
Oh,
and his
man,
wife.
this was sad.
And his dog.
No, you know what, GP? It is sad. He passed away, obviously. And so, he's 95 years old, right? So he probably didn't have that much. But I'm seeing now, like, TMZ just put out a report saying that they're calling the authorities are calling the death suspicious.
I don't like that.
I don't like that either. I mean, it is wild that, like, it's him and his wife and his dog. And then they're saying that there was 2 other dogs that were just on the property running around. So weird. And they're saying that it looked like the door was open when the authorities arrived, or the people that found them. I don't know, man. Weird.
I'll just read you exactly what it says at TMZ.
Mm-hmm.
Can I read you exactly what it says at TMZ right now?
Yes, please.
And understand this is 11:09 Central on February 27th. We will probably get more details throughout the day. But as of right now, here's what TMZ is reporting. According to a search warrant obtained by TMZ, a Santa Fe detective who sought a search warrant wrote in his affidavit he believes, quote, the death of the 2 deceased individuals to be suspicious enough in nature to require a thorough search and investigation because the reporting party found the front door of the residence unsecured and opened. Deputies observed a healthy dog running loose on the property, another healthy dog near the deceased female, a deceased dog laying 10 to 15 feet from the deceased female in a closet of the bathroom, the heater being moved, the pill bottle being opened and pills scattered next to the female, the male descendant being located in a separate room of the residence, and no obvious signs of a gas leak. So earlier, that was the report.
Speculation, right?
Carbon monoxide poisoning, perhaps. But according to this affidavit, there is no evidence of a gas leak at this point. I don't like it, Bennett. I don't like where it sounds like this might be going.
Yeah, I don't either. I will say I went on with JB this morning. We talked about him. He did have an amazing career, and I mentioned like he's been in so many movies that I love. Bonnie and Clyde, The French Connection, the Superman movies, Unforgiven. Like, he's been in so many movies that I love. Royal Tenenbaums. But
The
Firm filmed right here in Memphis. But I did, break it to her audience that even though I'm a massive movie fan and you are Mr. College Basketball, neither of us have ever seen Hoosiers.
Mm-mm.
Never. And at this point, we refuse to watch it.
Yeah, I'm not going to do it.
I feel like now that he's passed, I have to. But because we've gone so long without watching it, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know where I stand now.
I have interviewed on camera the men who were the inspiration for Hoosiers, the men who actually were a part of that team.
Mm-hmm.
I talked to them.
Yep.
They're joyful.
Jimmy, what's his name? Jimmy. What was Jimmy's name?
Bennett.
Jimmy Chitwood. Wasn't that his name?
Could be.
I think that was one of the guys' names.
Certainly could have been. It certainly could have been. Those gentlemen were delightful to spend an afternoon with at the Final Four. I enjoyed our time, but I never seen their movie. Maybe one day, but I doubt it at this point.
Maybe one day.
I got to get caught up on Severance before I even think about watching Hoosiers. You know, I got to get caught up on Severance before I even think about.
I got a stack, man. I got so much stuff I got to watch before I get to Hoosiers.
It's stressful. Do you get stressed out about what you haven't watched? I get stressed out.
I do. I actually truly do. You know, I have this like anxiety over, and I don't know why I did. So every year, as long as I can remember now, I watch all of the Best Picture nominees for the Oscars. Of course, the Oscars are this Sunday, and I don't know why I hold myself to that. Like it's nobody's like holding a gun to my head saying you're not gonna make it. You're not gonna make it this year. I have to, and I get anxiety if I don't do it. And there's one movie that I'm Still Here is the one movie that I have not seen yet, and I don't know where I'm gonna be able to fit it in because you can't rent it. I got to go see it at the theater, and I'm trying to figure out where I can fit it in before the ceremony on Sunday, and it's giving me like massive anxiety, and I don't know why.
I'm going to try to watch The Brutalist before Sunday.
Well, I hope you got 3.5 hours to carve out. I watched it this week. It's really good.
I don't.
It's really great. It is really great. I really enjoyed it.
Well, how about this? You do your best. I'm going to do my best, and we'll just see. And like, if we don't get to the finish line, it's fine. We did our best. We tried. We'll be able to look in the mirror and say we did our best.
Yeah. Can I give you my favorite Gene Hackman performance?
Please. I've been waiting.
I mean, I would probably go. I mean, the obvious one is Jimmy Popeye Doyle from The French Connection, and obviously I love the last name.
Gene Hackman has said prior to his passing that his favorite film was French Connection.
That was his favorite film, and he obviously won the Academy Award for that one too. So, yeah, I'll go with that. I thought he was great in The Unforgiven as well. And then someone in the chat said it, very underrated. I love Westerns. He was really good in The Quick and the Dead as well. So, yeah.
Rest in peace, Gene Hackman. We'll see. We'll get an explanation at some point, I imagine. Thoughts and prayers and whatever else you're supposed to say. We'll be back with GP's Carry On.
Grizzlies fans, dunks, dimes, and no-looks are great on TV, but nothing compares to catching them IRL. And that starts with buying tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Ticketmaster gets you to the game so you can catch every highlight in person. From seeing your favorite Grizzly stars up close to hearing the squeak of the sneakers on the hardwood. Put that jersey collection to use and get tickets at Ticketmaster. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside, Memphis.
Can't wait. It's time to get it popping.
It's going to be crazy. The fans are going to be loud. We need just energy.
Behind the back to Jerry for the flush.
We're going to need, the Forum rocking. We're going to need, everybody in Memphis to be out there to come to support.
When the fans are good, we're good. Simple as that.
A Bain 3. Yes, sir. Desmond Bain with ice water in his veins.
We'll ride the energy together.
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans, one exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals texted straight to you during the Grizzlies 2024-2025 season. Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
Anticipate each challenge. Make a quick response. Capitalize on every opportunity. And win. Greatness won't wait. It's true in basketball. It's true in banking. Grizzlies Checking from Pinnacle. Play hard. Bank easy. Open a Grizzlies checking account with at least $100 and a recurring direct deposit by August 31st, and you could receive a $200 direct deposit bonus into your account. Details at grizzliesbanking.com. Member FDIC.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing beats catching your Grizzlies IRL, and nobody knows that better than you. So next time you want to hit up a game, Ticketmaster's got your back with tickets to every upcoming matchup. Whether you're catching the Grizzlies at home or on the road, you'll find tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Keep putting that jersey collection to use and get Grizzlies tickets today. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside again soon, Memphis.
Welcome back, Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South. I'm in New York City, headed home. Bennett Doyle, inside the Built Ford Tough studio. I hope to join him there tomorrow morning. Looking forward to it. But before we do that, let's wrap this one up with GP's carryout.
Oh, let me stop that music first. Apologies.
All right, Bennett.
Yeah,
you know what we're doing.
It's
Familiar
time
with what
for
we're doing?
GP's Carryout. One final segment filled with stuff to take with you.
I thought I was the one who hasn't
need to
slept and
but it's
hopped up
most
on
of it.
Dayquil.
What did we learn today?
Well, I watched the Brutalist last night. It was 3.5 hours, so I didn't get any sleep
Oh, okay. I was watching San Francisco West Coast Conference basketball.
either. Underrated program.
It was a good game.
They're
It was a good
NCAA
game.
tournament team, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. They're hovering.
They're hovering. They're probably going to need to win the WCC. I've got to catch a plane. I cannot break down the WCC.
All right.
But they probably are going to need to win the WCC tournament. But if they can beat Gonzaga on Saturday night, A, that's good for Memphis's resume because Memphis owns a win over San Francisco. And B, San Francisco would be the 2 seed in the West Coast Conference tournament behind the 1 seed, St. Mary's. Let's just say that's what we learned today.
Yeah.
Can we just say that's what we learned today?
That works for me.
All right.
What's today's biggest game?
All right, Big Bet Bennett. We're going college basketball. I'm taking you to CBS Sports Network late tonight, just in case you're up and feeling yourself a little bit and you need to get some action.
Okay.
We got a 10 o'clock tip. It's number 23, St. Mary's, the Gales, your WCC champs, at Loyola Marymount. And you know who plays for St. Mary's? You know who plays for St. Mary's, don't you?
Who?
Ashton Hardaway.
Oh, yeah. I forgot he's at St. Mary's now.
Yeah, Ashton Hardaway's at St. Mary's now, averaging 2.5 points, 1.5 rebounds per game. Ashton Hardaway is a West Coast Conference champion, Bennett.
Okay. God, that's...
Who knew Ashton Hardaway would get a conference championship before his father?
That's, yeah. Well, I mean, they'll get one at the same time, hopefully.
Ashton already has one.
Oh, they already locked it up. Gotcha. Let's go St. Mary's. I mean, Loyola Marymount sucks. I don't...
They ain't been the same since they had Bo Kimball.
Yeah, give me St. Mary's. Give me St. Mary's. Yeah, I'll take minus 13.5. That's fine.
Bennett's laying 13.5 with the Gales tonight. 10 o'clock tip, CBS Sports Network.
What are we watching on TV?
All right, I got me a movie ready to go for my flight, Bennett.
What
I got me a movie ready to go for my flight. Nickel Boys. Have you watched Nickel Boys yet?
Great. I told JB that. Well, she's seen it too, but I was saying on her show today, that's the most underrated movie that's nominated this year for Best Picture. It's so good. It's not getting the love it deserves. You're going to love it. It's great. It's a heavy movie, but it's really, really good.
I'm excited then.
Yeah, you're going to like
excited.
that one.
I know. All right, I know what I'm doing for the next 2 hours and 20 minutes.
It's interesting. It's well, I won't tell you. It's just the way it's shot is unique. So it's cool. It's a good movie.
Nickel Boys, you can watch it right now on Apple TV. That's how I'm going to watch it. It is nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars on Sunday. Nickel Boys, available right now, Apple TV.
What's the best thing we've read?
Well, nah, I don't know if it's the best, but Top 25 and 1 is updated. I led on Michigan State and how Tom Izzo's on track to win a Big Ten title despite having quite literally one of the worst three-point shooting teams in college basketball. They're in the 300s in three-point field goal percentage, but still winning a lot more than they ever lose. You can read it at cbssports.com.
What's on tap for tomorrow?
Well, tomorrow's Friday. Hopefully I'll be back in studio. Get ready for Grizzlies and Knicks inside FedEx Forum. Jessica Benson will join me in the first hour. Looking forward to it already. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'll enjoy mine. We're going to meet back here tomorrow at 10. Till then, be careful. Be kind, be good. Rep your hood.